Hello, and welcome to the Rested podcast, where we explore travel time rather than destinations. My name's Mark Selby. I love the theatre of travel, discovering the stories of journeys and learning how people use their travel time. Queen Victoria's underwear helped home deliveries take off. In the 19th century, a Welsh draper opened a shop in Newtown that sold locally produced Welsh flannel. Price Jones left school at the age of 12 and became a very successful entrepreneur. In 1861, Price introduced arguably the first mail-order retail catalogue for remote customers. He took advantage of two developments, the reformed post office and the new railway line to Newtown. They enabled him to send out his catalogues and fulfill the resulting orders. He built a warehouse with its own post office next to the railway line for efficiency. Queen Victoria was an early customer. It was said she only wore Welsh flannel bloomers. The business grew, as, famously, did the size of the Queen's bloomers. By the 1870s, Price Jones was supplying clothes to most of the crown heads of Europe and shipping flannel all over the world. My son once worked at a mail-order company during his summer vacation. The company sent birthday cards to customers each year. One day, a letter arrived at the office from an elderly lady. It said, "Dear Sir, thank you for my birthday card. It's the only one I received." We often fail to grasp the impact of a simple act of kindness. Over a quarter of all retail sales in Britain are now done online. And following in the footsteps of Price Jones, delivery companies continue the search for greater efficiency. But despite advanced load and route planning systems, 1 in 3 lorries driving on Britain's roads are empty, and 39% of vans are less than 1/4 full. Just think how much energy goes into carrying empty space in trucks, vans, cars, and buses on our congested roads. We look at the movement of people and parcels on our roads differently. Yet stagecoaches originally carried both, and there were post buses in Britain until 2017, carrying letters, parcels, and people in rural areas. I watched some videos from the 1970s of interviews with their passengers. The importance of the post bus services to community life was clear. Quite apart from transport, they helped enable people to share local news. They helped reduce isolation and loneliness. One passenger said, "It's where we find out what's happening locally." Another said, "We used to have local shops deliver to us, but they've closed, so we must go into town for our shopping. We'd be lost without the bus." Some might suggest the recent growth of home deliveries has reduced the need for rural bus services into town, but access to employment, education and healthcare are just as important as they ever were. Since those videos were filmed, we've seen a collapse in the traditional social hubs of villages and towns. Attendance at places of worship has declined. Pubs have closed, as have libraries and many other facilities. Local newspapers and their journalists have gone, replaced by news agency feeds and press releases, offering content with little relevance to a local community. As Nicola in Hungerford, a former local journalist, writes, "Local newspapers, particularly rural ones, are a vital service to the community as well as a mirror, and their slow decline is an unquantifiable loss. And the loss of pubs continues to reduce those important third places that are neither home nor work, that are conducive to social encounters and friendly to idlers. the places of conversation that help people establish social and commercial trust. Post buses provided far more than the movement of people and parcels. They still operate successfully in parts of mainland Europe. In Switzerland, the post bus has its own distinctive three-tone horn taken from the William Tell Overture, C-sharp, E and A major, in case you're interested. I worked with a team to design a new type of electric post bus that could seat 20 people. Unfortunately, the pandemic put paid to trials, but I'll share some of its features. Firstly, we focused on time windows, a vehicle that would carry passengers at peak travel times and parcels for the rest of the day. Flexible seating enabled rapid conversion from one mode to the other, or mixed use when needed. A significant finding was that the access required for wheelchairs, by regulations, was the same as the access required for standard-sized goods cages on wheels. Services and facilities to enable the use of these vehicles were also designed. The actual bus did come to market, but operates as a passenger-only vehicle. Hopefully the flexible configuration and services we designed will be used one day. In the past, delivery people played a role within communities beyond their deliveries. They helped monitor the vulnerable and isolated people, such as that lady grateful for her single birthday card. In Britain, we had 3 daily deliveries of the newspaper, milk and post. If yesterday's hadn't been taken in or the curtains weren't drawn by late morning, the delivery person would mention it to a neighbour to check if the occupant was okay. I'm not suggesting a return to printed newspapers and letters, but we could use transport to establish new third places and deliver services more valued by travellers, customers and communities, helping budget-strapped councils tackle loneliness and deliver locally relevant communications. Loneliness is not limited to the economically challenged. On the 20th of June, 1884, Queen Victoria wrote in her journal, "The 47th anniversary of my accession. May God help me in my ever-increasing loneliness and anxieties." Nor is it limited to older people. A recent UK report found loneliness is higher for people who are 16 to 24 years old, are female, are single or widowed, have lower neighbourhood belonging, and have lower local social trust. We might all feel lonely sometimes, but prolonged loneliness can have negative impacts on our health and well-being. Young people say that feeling lonely makes them lose confidence in themselves, less likely to want to progress in work, and is associated with lower educational achievement. I worked at Nokia for years. It was a great experience, working for an innovative, trustworthy company as the mobile phone began its journey to ubiquity. Nokia employees were motivated by the company's tagline, "Connecting People." With hindsight, and watching diners at tables looking at their screens rather than each other, it now feels as if we were unintentionally disconnecting rather than connecting people. On Rested, your stories of rewarding encounters with strangers on journeys are wonderful. However brief, they offer human connectivity, opportunities for conversations, or just smiles. They can help us and others address our loneliness. Yesterday, as strangers on a train, a group of us were entertained by a girl's assertion to her sister that everyone has one eye bigger than the other. Laughter ensued as we all started checking each other's eyes. And finally, as Spike Milligan's poem Smile starts, "Smiling is infectious. You catch it like the flu. When someone smiled at me today, I started smiling too." Public transport is much more than just getting from A to B. No wonder it's becoming a lifestyle choice. And likewise, deliveries can be much more than a parcels movement from A to B. Thanks for sharing your stories and observations. Please keep sending them to restedpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, enjoy your travels. Thanks for listening to the Rested Podcast. Do subscribe to get details of new episodes, and please share Rested with a friend. I look forward to reading and sharing your travel stories. Please email restedpodcast@gmail.com, and my thanks to everyone that has contributed to Rested so far. Enjoy your travel time.